Hey, it is Mike the NBA guy here, and today I have got to talk about the Heat and the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Because if you had given me 1,000 guesses before the season began, even maybe before the bubble began, as to what the finals were going to be, I would not have said that the Heat were going to be there. Okay? Now, I was not as low on them when the season started, as many people were. There were a lot of people, especially salty Sixers fans, who thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs or they were going to be like a 7th or 8th seed. I knew they were going to be one of the 6 best seeds in the East, all right, one of the 6 best teams. I knew they weren't going to be a bad team. My guess would have probably been either the 5th or 6th seed, though. I figured it was between them and the, it was between them and the Pacers for the legit playoff teams in the East, because let's be real, like, there's 6 teams in the East who had a chance to make the second round, and the rest of them were garbage. You know, we knew the Nets were going to suck. We knew the Magic weren't really going to be good this year. All right. I did not think the Heat would make it past the second round. Okay. Honestly, I didn't think they would make the second round, period, with their matchups. I expected them to beat I expected them to beat the Pacers once the playoffs came around and they were there. The Pacers were injured. I think if the Pacers weren't injured, it would have been a better series. And I think the Pacers in general are a very underrated team. I plan to make a video on them at some point. I did not expect the Heat to beat the Bucks. Not at all. Okay. I knew they were a good matchup for the Bucks, probably the best matchup for the Bucks in the NBA, but still, if you had told me the Heat were going to beat the Bucks in 5 games, and realistically, let's be real, that should have been 4 games, but I think the Heat might have gotten a little too cocky in game 4 when Giannis got hurt. I never would have guessed that, okay? I thought the only way they possibly upset the Bucks is, first of all, an injury, which did happen, to be fair, but I don't think the injury affected anything at the end of the day. And I would have thought it was like some 7-game series, and, everyone choked, okay? And it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, they choked. Mike Budenholzer specifically choked. He was embarrassingly outcoached. But the Heat just outplayed them. They played harder. And they had a much better coach. Mike Budenholzer did not adjust his scheme, which has been an issue with him in previous years, but this year it really showed that he is not one of the elite coaches in the league, because you have to adjust. It's the same reason I don't want Mike D'Antoni. Also the fact that his offense is terrible for our team. But one of the main reasons I don't want Mike D'Antoni, because there are multiple, is that he does not adjust in the playoffs. Mike Budenholzer is the same thing. He wouldn't adjust, and because of that, the Heat kicked the Bucks' ass. Doesn't matter that Giannis was easily the best player in that series, and he's still unquestionably a top 5 player in the league. And then again, in the Celtics series, the Heat just played better. Erik Spoelstra may be the best coach in the league. I feel very strange giving him that title, because for me, it came out of nowhere. Because the last 2 seasons, I mean, I knew he was a good coach, but I don't know. I just never saw him as an elite coach. And because of that, I think people are giving him just a little bit more credit than he deserves. He is a great coach, but it's really on the mentality of this team, okay? Jimmy Butler went to the perfect opportunity. And honestly, I'm very happy for him that he is on a team where everyone shares his mentality, okay? Where you got guys like Bam and Tyler Hero who clearly put in the work. Okay, Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson, these guys who really weren't meant to be in the NBA, but they worked their ass off and they made it here. Okay, this is a hard-working team. It's honestly, the Heat are everything. The Heat right now are everything Philly likes to think they are, where they're a hard-working, blue-collar team who doesn't take any shit, and they just outplay everyone because they want it more. That's what Philly likes to think they are, and it's what the Heat actually are. Okay, and it's working. They beat the Boston Celtics. I thought the Celtics were going to beat them. I thought the Celtics would beat them in 7 too, even after they beat the Bucks, because I didn't think the Heat would be good enough on defense. I figured the Celtics had a better coach in Brad Stevens. And once again, I, like many other people, to be fair, it wasn't just me. I feel like most people underestimated the Heat, and they were better than I thought they were. And they absolutely earned their way to be in this NBA Finals. Now, I've gone on with this a little bit longer than I planned to about the Heat. I'll talk about the Lakers, but I don't have as much to say about them. I did underestimate them too, though. I originally, since the beginning of the season, I thought the Clippers were going to be in the finals. My preseason prediction was always Clippers-Bucks, even though I, had like this sliver of hope that wouldn't go away that the Sixers would pull it off. I always thought it was going to be Clippers-Bucks. All right, the Clippers disappointed. They lost to the Nuggets. I thought maybe the Nuggets have a chance to beat the Lakers. They just didn't. The Lakers they've been 5-game series against all 3 teams they've faced so far in the playoffs. The Heat and the Lakers have actually played the same number of games in the playoffs so far, with both of them playing. The Heat had a sweep, a 5-game series, and a 6-game series. Lakers had 3 5-game series. So they're equally rested, and they seem to be pretty much equal teams. But I do believe the Lakers are going to win the NBA Finals. I would say in 7 games to be safe. I wouldn't be shocked if it took 6. I also would not be shocked if the Heat upset them and they win. This could absolutely go either way, because at this point, as much as I have learned once again this playoffs to not underestimate a LeBron James team, I have also learned not to underestimate the Miami Heat, because they've been kicking teams' asses. All right? They shoot really well. They play great. They play hard. I just don't think they can overcome the Lakers, though. The Lakers they beat the Blazers in 5. That was an easy series. They beat the Rockets in 5 in a series that could have been more difficult, but it wasn't, because LeBron James shut down Russell Westbrook. He made him his bitch, and I freaking loved that. That was easily my favorite. That's probably my favorite part of the playoffs so far, period, was LeBron James fucking bitching Russell Westbrook. I love that, okay, because I do not like Russell Westbrook. So I loved watching that. LeBron James has been fantastic on defense. Anthony Davis has been, he has proved me wrong multiple times now this playoffs, where, I still believe that he is not better than Jokic, but honestly I do. I still believe he's not better than Nikola Jokic, but he's right there with him, and he's definitely a top 10 player in this league, even if I will absolutely not go as far as to say he's a top 5 player in the league, because I don't think, I don't believe he's the best player on this team, on this Lakers team. It's LeBron. I don't understand the AD fans who sit there and think it's Anthony Davis. It's LeBron, clearly. Dwight Howard's been great these playoffs in limited minutes. Rajon Rondo, playoff Rondo, is a real thing, okay? He has not aged out yet. KCP hasn't been terrible. Kuzma has been not terrible. Danny Green has been terrible, but it hasn't killed the Lakers yet. I think the Heat have more depth. I think they play better together. And I think the Lakers just have too much talent with LeBron and Anthony Davis. I think LeBron and Jimmy Butler is going to be a good matchup for both sides, but I think LeBron is definitely better. Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo, it's a good matchup on both sides. Anthony Davis is better. With the other stuff, the Heat have some more better other players, but I just don't think they can pull it off. LeBron James had that crazy game against the Nuggets, and I think if he's pushed to it, he can pull off more of those in these series. I think he has kind of been saving himself until he really runs into a tough matchup where he needs to have multiple games like 2018. And I think he can pull it off. Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, I think is going to make him look mortal in this. He's not going to average 30 like he has so far in the playoffs against Bam, because Bam is a fantastic defender. But he's still going to get his. Okay, and I think Anthony Davis is going to defend Bam better than anyone in the East has so far. All right, and I just can't see the Heat pulling it off. I would love for them to pull it off, because I like Jimmy Butler. I like this Heat team a lot. I respect them a lot, because they're everything I wish the Philadelphia 76ers were. Okay, I love the way they play. And, I'm a big fan of the underdog in general, and also I don't like the Lakers in general as a franchise. I think they have the worst fans in all of basketball. Can't stand the team, frankly. So I would love for the Heat to win this matchup and win the title over the Lakers. I just don't believe it's going to happen. My bet is Lakers in 7, and if I'm wrong, I would not be surprised, and I would also not be unhappy, but that is my guess. Lakers in 7. That's my finals prediction as of right now. But I am very excited to watch this series. So, yeah, that's my thought on the Lakers and Heat in the finals. This ended up being a little bit longer than I planned to, but I'm just kind of ranting at this point. Thank you for watching and listening. I really appreciate it, especially if you would like and subscribe, and check out some of my other videos.